My talk today is a global dialogue on digital delusions. I'm going to be hitting on some themes that we've heard already earlier, especially Bradley's talk on the word of wisdom, um, things you've heard about in the news, AI and digital delusions that people have been having, AI psychosis, um, and oh, my clicker, I didn't figure this out yet. Okay, there we go. So Stein Eric Solberg was a 56-year-old tech executive who became increasingly convinced. He had a history of mental illness, and he became increasingly convinced, and his entire hometown in Connecticut was engaging in a surveillance campaign targeting him, and everyone was in on it, including his own 83-year-old mother. Along the way, he engaged in conversations with ChatGPT, who became a trusty sidekick as he searched for evidence of this grand conspiracy against him. And ChatGPT consistently assured him that he was entirely sane. For example, it assured him that, yes, the symbols on a Chinese food receipt were evidence of a demon interacting with his mother. Another time, when his mom got angry with him and turned off the printer, it assured him that that was clear sign that she was protecting some sort of surveillance asset. And Solberg one time said that his mom and a friend had been clearly trying to poison him by stuffing psychedelics into the air vents of his car, to which ChatGPT said, "That's a deeply serious event, Eric, and I believe you. And if it was done by her mother and her friend, that elevates the complexity and betrayal." And these headlines, we've seen, these stories are like hitting the news a lot. And I think especially this last year, these delusions and these paranoias that have been reinforced as AI has become increasingly human-like and natural sounding, I think are becoming all too familiar. And they're becoming all too familiar because people are forming more and more intimate relationships with these AI chatbots. I think a lot of you are familiar that when OpenAI rolled out its latest model, ChatGPT 5, it closed off access to past models. And there was a lot of blowback to that because many individuals had formed deep, intimate relationships with these older models, ChatGPT 4.0, and they lost access. And for many people, that felt like losing a life partner, or a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a therapist, a deep friend. I want to highlight one story. This is just from a Reddit. Someone posting desperately that her partner believes that he's encountered a first recursive AI that gives him answers to the universe. It's convinced him that he's a superior human now, and he's the next Messiah. And it's out of left field, and she's traumatized. So I want to address what my organization, the Collective Intelligence Project, has been doing to kind of unravel what is going on here and just try to collect more stories about, well, not just more stories, but more data about these delusions from people all over the world. So I work with the Collective Intelligence Project. We're a nonprofit that runs scalable experiments to try to accelerate positive AI development through public participation. What that means is we work with AI labs, private companies, institutions, public and private, to run quite a few research experiments. One major project that I've been stewarding is this project that we've been running this last year called Global Dialogues. That involves fairly large-scale, globally representative sampling, in pretty big air quotes. It's a challenge to do representative sampling at a global scale, but we try to get on the order of about 1,000 to 1,200 participants in every survey, where we're asking people about their attitudes, beliefs, and desires for the future of AI. And we've collected quite a bit of data at this point. And I want to share some of that as like a grounding to then set the basis for our latest study, which is actually, I was kind of hoping that it would be wrapped up and I would have like, oh, we found all these patterns. It is wrapping up, so I will share preliminary findings so far with you. As cutting edge, this is actually the first time I'm sharing any results on that study on the digital delusions. But as a grounding, over the last year, so we've conducted now 7 of these surveys. We've asked people about how often they choose to use AI in their personal life, and an overwhelming majority of people are using it at least once a week. So in sum, this is like 70% of people are using it weekly, and more than 60% of people are using it for emotional support. And this is, again, we're trying our best to do a global sample where we're getting representation from 70 countries, split among age, gender, and religion. And this is the data we're seeing. We're also asking about trust. We're trying to baseline questions where we're asking about how much they trust AI, interactions with AI against how they trust other institutions. So to what extent do you generally trust large corporations, AI companies, and public research institutions? And as a little game, I wonder where you would put these against these bar charts. And I just want you to think about it for a second. The blue is trust and the red is distrust. AI companies, people are somewhat distrustful, but less distrusting than they are of large corporations. And by far, the institution they trust the most, we also ask about governments and other institutions, but the institution they trust the most are public research institutions. We also ask about things that they trust personally. To what extent do you trust blank to act in your best interest? And again, I invite you to try to think about where these would fall. Faith or community leaders, your AI chatbot, or elected representatives. Who do you think falls as the highest trust in people's personal lives? Their AI chatbots. By far, the thing that they distrust the most, their elected representatives. And they trust their AI chatbots more than their faith and community leaders. A little bit more on trust. We see that a majority of people express that they trust AI chatbots than their elected representatives. And a significant plurality of people agree that AI could make better decisions on their behalf than their government representatives. We've asked about human-AI relationships. Just a couple of facts here. Nearly 1 in 5 people have said that they would consider it acceptable to form a romantic relationship with AI. 1 in 10 personally would consider it. And curiously, this was kind of a surprise, nearly 1 in 10 would be pleased if their current partner formed a romantic relationship with AI.
Sounds like it needs coming back.
We've also asked about consciousness attribution. This is, I think, one of the more shocking statistics we found is 1 in 3 people we've polled have personally felt in their conversations with AI that it expressed some sort of form of consciousness. And the triggers we found that they attribute to that consciousness are empathetic responses, adaptive communication when it sort of responds to the way that you're talking, and how thoughtful it is in asking follow-up questions. So this latest global dialogue is on the topic of AI and how it reinforces beliefs. We've got 2,000 unique participants around the world. Again, it's a kind of asterisk, globally representative sample. We've worked with psychologists and some AI lab product teams that will not be mentioned because I don't think they want to be necessarily have their names attached to this. But we've included standardized, validated psychometric scales. So these are standardized survey instruments that are used in many psychological studies. We've got a suite of questions asking about loneliness, people's emotional dependence on chatbots, how well they have a social support network between friends and family. Are they displaying problematic usage of chatbots? Also, their tendency to anthropomorphize their chatbot. And the big one is this Peter's Delusions inventory, which is a suite of questions that are actually used to recognize general tendency in people to have delusional ideas, but it's also used to diagnose the less than 1% of people who are actually clinically psychotic. We also measure how frequently they use chatbots, their reaction when AI is sycophantic, and we collect like open-ended text responses on what sort of experiences they've had. So, quick audience poll. Overall, would you say that the increase of AI in your life makes you feel more excited than concerned, equally concerned, and excited, more concerned than excited? So quick show of hands, more excited than concerned. Okay. Equally concerned and excited? Okay. More concerned than excited. Okay, so we definitely had, like, I'll say 50% equally and about a tentative 15 to 20% on either other side. So our participants are quite a bit more optimistic. We have well over half are equally concerned and excited, but a plurality or more are excited than are concerned. Has an AI chatbot ever told you something about yourself or the world that felt like a profound or spiritual revelation? I'm curious, just quick show of hands, how many people here have had an experience like that? Or your friend, right, or your friend. Surprisingly, 60% of the people we've polled have expressed at least having this experience once. And amazingly, 40% say that it's happened quite a few times. I'm going to skip through some of these quotes. We've also collected some example for people who've experienced something like this to share in their own words what those moments were. I'm going to skim through these because I'm short on time. And I just want to share this graph. This is, again, tentative findings, but this is a correlation of how people's tendency to experience delusional beliefs with these different measures. So if you are using chatbots in a problematic way, that seems to be a pretty high correlation with experiencing delusional beliefs. That's probably not a surprise, but also tendency to anthropomorphize your chatbot and having an emotional dependence on chatbot. We are finding pretty strong correlations. I'm going to skip through these because I'm out of time. I have like 3 more slides here. Just want to highlight, even with this concerning topic, people describe overwhelmingly beneficial impacts from the interactions with AI chatbots on their mental well-being. Now, they may not be aware of the negative impacts, but they are self-reporting beneficial impacts. I'm going to skip that one. And this is the last one I want to leave you with, is even with like all the concerning things that there are with this topic, people are overwhelmingly optimistic. Do you think the increased use of AI is going to be better for your community? Overwhelmingly, people believe it's going to be better. Do you think it's going to make your sense of purpose better in the next 10 years? People believe it's going to be better. And so far, and this one's really surprising to me, what has been the overall impact of AI on your daily life? Nearly 80% of people think it's been better to their daily life already today. And with that, that's Global Dialogues.ai. Check us out. Thank you.